right, hey, welcome to episode number 10 of the Joe Pop podcast. Today I've got Dave Pearson. Say hey, Dave.
Hey, guys.
So, once again, mobile in my 2022 Tacoma Tundra. I don't know if Toyota will ever pick this up, but anyway, I love my truck. It's my retirement gift, and it makes a great sound booth.
How long have you had it?
December.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice. It is nice.
All right, thank
attest.
you.
Yeah.
All right, so we're now going mobile, man. So here we go. Make sure I don't hit anything.
Wow, that's quite a screen.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? This thing's
You're not going to hit anything backing up.
You would hope
See
not.
the whole planet.
But I also realize how much older I'm getting because I love having the cameras when I drive something without it.
With your neck, right?
Yeah. So.
Whoops, HIPAA.
So I met Dave 2 years ago.
Yeah, that sounds right. 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was my physical therapist. AFSOC has the POTIF program, which they've changed to iron. But I'll let you attest to that. Once again, Dave is a physical therapist with up here at with AFSOC. So you've got a disclaimer you've got to do. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Dave.
Yeah. So I'm supposed to say that the views that I have today are strictly my own. I do not represent the Department of Defense, the Air Force, AFSOC, or KBR, which is my employer, my contracting company employer. So, disclaimer, that was new for me. I never had to worry about that, but that's where I am. So.
That works, man. So anyway, once again, just so you know, I mean, one of the nice things about this podcast is it is raw and uncut. However, at some point, if you say something, you're like, dude, I don't feel comfortable that I said that, just let me know, and we will scratch it. But
okay.
I think the authenticity of this podcast is hopefully what will draw people to it. So, you all ready?
Let's go.
All right, man. So, let's start at the beginning. Before you worked for the Mets, before you became a physical therapist, before you worked for AFSOC and all us knotheads, dude, where did all this kick off at? What state? Tell me about your parents, siblings.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, suburb of Jacksonville, East Coast. I'm the oldest of 3 boys. My parents still live out there in Neptune Beach, another suburb. So it goes.
How far is that from like Amelia Island or Fernandina?
Fernandina is north, and from there it goes, I think it goes Fernandina or Amelia, Fernandina, or maybe it might flip. But then Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, Jax Beach, and then Ponte Vedra, which is where you see the sawgrass, TPC sawgrass, stuff like that.
Okay.
So from north to south, that's how it goes. And then St. Augustine below that.
Sawgrass is where the Golf Hall of Fame is, isn't it?
I think the Hall of Fame is not there. It might be. I don't know. It's a lot of golf activity there. I think St. Augustine is or Palm Harbor. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Not a big golfer, but
yeah, neither am I.
Yeah.
I just like walking the green on occasion. But anyway, man, press. So
so Jacksonville Beach, oldest of 3 boys. Just grew up, had a normal childhood. I was a child of the 80s. I drank out of the hose.
All right.
Stayed out till the street lights came on. I mean, played sports, normal childhood.
How old are you?
That's classified. I'm 49. 49. Born in 75. So.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, so played a lot of soccer and baseball and a lot of street ball and this and that. Played organized soccer and baseball, and then carried that into high school. Played baseball in high school up until my junior year. Stopped my junior year, after my sophomore year. Really wasn't. I had a passion for baseball, but I didn't have the talent. Loved the game, just didn't have the talent.
What positions? What positions you play?
I was pretty much a glove-only guy, so I played second and third. I didn't hit very much. Remember, when I graduated high school, I was 5'8", 135. I was
that's tiny. Probably where I was at,
I was
man.
tiny.
Yeah.
I hit a growth spurt much later in my days. My son right now is 16. He outweighed me, and is taller than I was in high school. So yeah, just but I wanted to stay close to the game, and I think that's where my future career in sports medicine and physical therapy came about.
And that was so in high school you kind of figured, hey, because I was the same way. I played first base. I'd like to say, hey, a little bit of self-aggrandizement.
Pump your own tires.
Yeah. I was a good first baseman,
Yeah.
but dude, I sucked when it came to batting.
Yeah.
And when I connected with the ball, dude, I could send it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't connect with the ball that much.
I didn't have much power, and I couldn't hit a curveball, and unfortunately, that's where baseball careers go to die in high school. And it was fun, but I struggled to maintain the balance of academics and athletics as well. My parents are very much an academics first family. My mom's a teacher.
Okay.
My dad's a general contractor, so they were like, look, you're not going to be pro. You need to focus on your academics. And so that decision was helped along. Can't hit a curveball, can't hit very well, and you get one C in advanced class and they shut you down. So
Gotcha. Okay, well, one moment here.
Yeah.
Can you smell me?
No.
Okay, then bring it in just a tad bit. Yeah.
Right.
No, I appreciate it.
Right.
So yeah, keep pressing. So you figure PT might be the way to go.
Yeah. So I thought physical therapy was the way to go. Kind of either a pediatrician or a vet or a PT is what I was narrowed down to. And so I went to college at University of North Florida in Jacksonville. Got through my sophomore year, took the prereqs for PT, and I thought, you know what? I don't want to work with, quote, old people. And so I changed my major to sports medicine and athletic training. And at the time, the school was standing up a brand new program, an accredited program. And so I met with the program director, and he said, you're essentially a junior. You can, if you want to take the internship route, I'll sign your papers. You can sit for the exam, and you can keep going forward. Or you can fall back a year, enter into the program, which is an accredited program, and you can take cool classes like gross anatomy and modalities, like learning how to use other equipment. And I thought, I don't want to really repeat my junior year, but if you're going to repeat anything, it's college year, so
yeah.
What the heck? So felt I made a somewhat adult decision to fall back a year and enter into the program as part of that very first accredited class that graduated. So graduated from North Florida with a bachelor's in health and specialization in athletic training, sports medicine. Took my athletic training certification exam. Took my certified strength conditioning certification exam, and boom, I'm off and running. And from there.
So what's the difference? Sorry to interrupt. What's the difference between this and kinesiology, or is kinesiology and this synonymous?
It's pretty close. Kinesiology is a class that I took within my program. Athletic training is more care and prevention of sports injuries. So it's not just the study of movement, but it's treating, and it's a licensed profession, nationally certified licensed profession.
Gotcha.
So from there, I went to grad school. I figured I'm going to chase down a master's degree in sports medicine because that's what the standard was. And I was lucky enough to get a graduate assistantship where they pay for your tuition and they give you a stipend. And essentially, it's cheap work. So you're getting your master's for free and you're getting the stipend. And I worked at a high school each of my 2 years at University of Florida. So Trenton High School, which not many people have heard of, it's 45 minutes west of Gainesville. It's literally a one stoplight town. And then Newberry High School, which is 20 minutes west of Gainesville. So I did each of those for a year.
Okay.
And then I had some decisions to make because I'm coming out of school out of Florida with the master's, and it's time to enter the workforce. And I thought, you know what? I've taken all these prereqs for PT school. I should at least apply for PT school.
Right.
And so I applied at North Florida, University of North Florida, and I got in. So I had three options. I had PT acceptance, I had an offer to work Florida football for a year as an intern, And I had some interest from the Pittsburgh Pirates in their rookie league, Gulf Coast.
Pittsburgh Pirates, are they even a thing anymore?
Yeah, they are, but yeah.
I don't follow baseball anymore.
Yeah, they're a team.
If it was outside
they're not that great.
If it was outside the realm of baseball cards, of which I was a massive collector.
Me too.
I think I forgot about that, man.
Yeah.
My collection's sitting up in the attic right now.
Gotta get down, take a peek at it.
Yeah, I do, and maybe get a couple price manuals.
Unfortunately, I think the cards have not kept their value very well, unless you got like a 57 mantle or whatever, or something like that.
Yeah, I remember when Ken Griffey was like, and we're going down a rabbit hole. I remember when Ken Griffey cards were like worth some major money.
They've not held their value very well.
Yeah, well, okay.
But anyway, the Pirates.
We'll throw them up in the attic for another 50 years.
There you go. Never know.
So Pittsburgh Pirates were an option.
So I had three options, and I loved baseball, but I knew that working in baseball in Gulf Coast Rookie League was not going to be my first job. That was not the best. The best for me was going to be PT school. As much as I wanted to do football at University of Florida, PT school was the adult decision. It could be better for me long-term, financially, job security, etc.
You're so responsible, man.
Know. Don't tell anybody.
My mom and dad must be proud.
Don't tell anybody. So I tried to defer my PT acceptance for a year and go work football, and PT school would not let me do that.
Okay.
Florida ended up winning the SEC that year. So the guy that took the job called me later, and he's like, "Hey, you know what I'm doing right now?" I'm like, "I don't know. What are you doing?" "I'm getting fitted for my SEC ring right now." I'm like, "Oh, of course you are."
Oh.
So I missed out on that one, but
bring it in just a tad, man. You're good.
Ended up, going through PT school and had some great experiences and learned a lot. And I had a couple internships in PT school. I had acute care where I had 3 people die on me. That was kind of a first.
Okay, wait a minute.
Patients.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the hospital.
Can you go in and explain that?
Yeah.
I mean, was it a pretty?
One was a 98-year-old lady.
Okay.
You got to go at some point, I guess, right? 98.
Hey, 98. She almost got high score.
She didn't get cheated. That's for sure.
Oh wow.
One was terminal cancer that was refusing treatment, so you knew that was coming.
Oh dang.
Yeah. Okay. And I can't remember the third one, but that 6 weeks, it was tough. You get people dying. That was a Pentecostal-based hospital, so it was meatless. So I lost 15 pounds that 6 weeks, eating vegetarian diet in the cafeteria. Like, I didn't have 15 to lose back then, So it was stress of losing patients, and it was not my favorite rotation because it was hospital-based. I had to wear a shirt and tie and a lab coat, and I'm a sweater, so I was a sweater. So
at least it kind of probably helped you guide your decision as to, hey, geriatrics is not for me.
That's not my thing.
Yeah.
And then my second rotation was pediatric neuro, and so you got to work with kids that had developmental delays, sensory integration issues, all kinds of different stuff, cerebral palsy.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to work with a lady that her practice was pool-based. So she did a lot of aquatic therapy and horse therapy, so hippotherapy. So just really opportunities that your non-traditional students, you're not going to get that.
Right.
A lot of places pediatrics are in the schools and things like that, but this was pretty unique in pools with horses. So.
Oh no! Are you serious?
Yeah, I only got shocked by electric fence once or twice out at the ranch. But
nobody convinced you to pee on it?
No. Smarter than I look.
You are.
And then the third rotation was pretty unique, and then I got to work back to University of Florida and work with their team PT. And so my days were 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the clinic, and then I'd leave the clinic and go to the training room and work University of Florida athletics. So you're working with all the college athletes that are hurt, and then I had to go back to the clinic that night and finish all my paperwork that I missed. So there are some long days, but you can do anything for 8 weeks.
Right.
What was unique about that is I think because I had done my master's at Florida, I put the bug in the faculty's ear way early in advance about, hey, going to PT school, I'd like to come back and do my orthopedic rotation with Marty, who's the therapist.
Okay.
That was like a 2-year project to get that rolling. And this guy had a wait list of over 100. And next thing you know, we're at the top of the list.
Wow.
Me and my buddy, because 8-week, and he got an 8-week as well to make it a semester's worth. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Met a lot of people, learned a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So from there, come out of PT school, and I need to get a job. And so just entered the workforce and in Jacksonville, and kind of bounced around some outpatient clinics with a little bit of high school coverage here and there. That was still my my area of fun, was still to be on the sidelines on a Friday night and helping out when I could.
And what years is all this happening?
I graduated undergrad in 98.
Okay.
Master's in 2000, PT in 02. And then from 02 to 09, I just kind of bounced around those clinics and just kind of cut my teeth on the orthopedic experience. And
so real quick, because a big frame of reference, the majority of guys that I do is majority of guys I do are military.
Yep.
And so 9/11 falls in there.
Yep.
And that's a major pivot point for a lot of guys, especially for me, because I was out of the military. I'd gotten out at that point. So as you're sitting there, what's your? Here we are. It's mid-August. We're gonna be rolling up on 9/11 pretty quick. I'm curious with a guy who's and there's not a wrong or right answer on this. Guys, there's some guys that want to go in the military. There's some that don't.
Yeah.
Where's your headspace on 9/11 when that goes down? Obviously,
I was in college when it happened. I remember vividly in class, somebody came in and said, "Turn the TV on." Turn it on, and you see it kind of unfold.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew what was happening, right? And at our college, I remember they gave us early release because I think they had some fear that they didn't know if universities were on the radar or what.
Right.
And I remember because North Florida's on a nature preserve. There were only 2 exits, and so everybody made a mad dash for the exits, and there was gridlock. And
really
ended up at a buddy's house, kind of as a group of us, and we just kind of watched it unfold. Rewind. I was coming out of high school. I thought I had interest in the Marines. I don't remember what's kind of spurred that on, but I remember I met with a recruiter and we talked about OCS, and I think he said I didn't have the test scores for it. I didn't have the SAT and the ACT. I'd taken it once, and so I took it again, and I guess I got better at it. It qualified me enough for an academic scholarship, and he came back and said, "Okay, your test scores are better." And I said, "No thanks. I'm on scholarship. I'm headed to college." So.
Oh yeah, go with what is it? Better than what? One hand in the bird in the hand,
yeah,
than 2 in the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I just just took me down a different path.
Gotcha.
I don't have any service members in my family, my immediate family. My grandfather served. My wife's grandfather served.
Which did they serve? That
Navy.
time frame, were they in any theaters at that point? Because we're close to the same age. I mean, grandfathers, when you're talking about
World
us.
War II.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So you think they served, or you don't know?
Yeah, they
okay.
did. Yeah.
Do you got any family history on that as to what they did?
No, I don't. I should know better, but I don't.
Yeah, no. I mean, that's I had a guy that because my old man was Navy, and I joined in '90, and you know what? I was a freaking knucklehead. I wish I joined the Navy, and the guy a couple doors down from me had served in the Pacific Theater. And being a college kid and a Navy reservist, sadly, I didn't take the time to pick his brain.
Yeah, some good stories.
And I'm sure he would have told me if I had asked.
Yeah.
But shoulda, coulda, woulda.
I know my dad was a candidate for whatever. He was on the radar for Vietnam.
Right.
And he got booted medically because his eyesight was so bad.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
And he certainly passed that on to me because my eyesight's pretty bad. But I guess you can't be in the jungle of Vietnam changing your contacts out. So.
Oh yeah.
So he got lucky.
Yeah.
And
okay.
there we go.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
Let's okay. So let's press.
Yeah.
Evidently, through this whole thing, you've been an adult through the whole thing, which a lot of guys can't say that.
Right. I guess I was. Yeah, I guess I was pretty mature even at a young age.
Nothing wayward at all.
I don't want to say nothing, but there's no record of it. There's no police record.
That's fine.
Yeah, nothing. No, I was a pretty good kid.
Okay. Hey, mom's not going to come back to get you, man.
No, I was a good kid.
Okay, we'll press, man.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
I mean, I was probably it's just more boring. I don't know. I don't know.
You're good. You're good, man. All right, so keep going.
Yeah. So, I don't know. From 02 to 09. I'm in the outpatient clinics.
Is your wife even on the scene at this point?
Okay, so yeah, let's rewind a little bit. So I met her.
Because she's gonna watch this, dude, and she's gonna say, "What? I'm not important enough."
Not gonna watch.
Okay. What?
So I met her. When did I meet her? So I was a grad student at Florida, and she was an undergrad.
Okay.
She was actually my student at one point, and I think that's where it all kind of blossomed. Now, we did not date when I was her supervisor. In fact, I distinctly remember...
You said student, so you were her teacher.
Well, she was at my clinical site. So we're out at football.
Okay.
I'm the certified on site. She's the undergrad student gaining experience. Athletic training experience.
Gotcha.
So, but I remember we ended up working spring football, which ended in May. And we packed up the training room, and it was going to go into summer, And her semester was over. My semester was over. I was headed to PT school in a couple months, and I said, "Season's over," And I said, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" And she said, "Nothing." She said, "What are you doing tonight?" I said, "Nothing." And then, being the romantic I am, I said, "You want to do nothing together?" And so we went and got Subway and watched the hockey playoffs on TV. So. Not exactly flowers and red wine, but that's where it started. And we knew that we were going to be long distance because I was going to be in Jacksonville and she was finishing up in Gainesville. And then she went to grad school as well at Florida again. So undergrad and grad at Florida for sports med. And so, we did the long distance thing and then got married in 04.
So you guys are a couple of brainiacs, man.
Won't tell anybody. She's smarter than I am. And I'll openly admit
that's usually how it works.
Thank God, right? We've compared our test scores, and it's a source of pride for her. And
I need you to bring it in just a little bit.
Yeah. So married in 04, and she worked in Jacksonville as an athletic trainer, various different schools. So fun fact, she was Tim Tebow's high school athletic trainer.
Okay.
His junior year. And so at Nice High School, and of course they won state his senior year, so she missed out on that one. But
that's still pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and then I was his athletic trainer with the Mets when he was a minor leaguer with the Mets. So we got a chance to meet him later on. Like when we picked him up, we signed him. Picked him up in Florida. I was part of that kind of delegation to meet him at the airport, take him to the hospital, get blood work, blah, blah, blah. And I told the group I was with, I said, listen, if the conversation stalls, I'm going to have to go in the back pocket and bring up the fact that my wife was his athletic trainer in high school. And they were like, oh my God, you're a fanboy. I was like, no, seriously. Like, we grew up in Jacksonville. We watched him. He's a good kid. We watched him at Florida because we're both Florida alum. We've tracked him. Didn't think he'd become a Met, that's for sure, but we got a chance to get them reunited in spring training and take some pictures and say hi, and she was like, he's clearly not a boy anymore. Like, he's not a high school kid anymore. He's a man, and he just got that much bigger. But he remembered her and got the kids to see him and this and that. But
That's pretty cool.
yeah, so they didn't know they were little. They didn't know what he was all about.
Right.
But having him around the Mets was a really good experience. He was a great role model, I think, for a lot of young minor league kids. They just kind of follow him around. Whatever he did, he'd go in the hot tub, they'd go in the hot tub. So in terms of establishing good habits, I think that was pretty big. But anyway, my wife has since transitioned and retired as a athletic trainer. When we moved up here, she worked with Andrew's group a little bit, covering some high school or middle school football, helping out. And I've never been back here. I've never gone this far.
Yeah, me and the kids have been. We've been camping out here, hiking out here.
Nice.
So, in fact, I'm going to do an episode one day on rites of passage, and this is one of the routes that one of my sons took.
Nice.
So, but yeah, beautiful out here. But
so yeah.
So when do kids show up?
So
are we not there yet?
Well, close. 08, my son was born.
Okay.
He's 16 now.
And where are you guys living at?
We were in Jacksonville at the time.
Okay, gotcha.
He was born in April, and then December of 08, I interviewed for the Mets job, and then we moved.
Okay.
I moved in January of 09. I was accepted that job and had to be out there pretty quick, and so my wife packed up the house and came later with a newborn in tow. So
wow.
Yeah.
So she got a little dose of what military spouses go through. Yeah, having to pack up the house in your absence.
A little bit. So I started that job in February of 09.
Okay.
And spent 10 years there as the physical therapy and rehab coordinator. At the time, they had one physical therapist at the big league side, and then myself, I was the lone therapist on the minor league side. And looking back, like now that I'm gone, as soon as I left, the next year they had 3 minor league therapists. So I'm kind of like, just how much work was I doing over there?
Yeah.
And it's not like I was making $1 million and they took that $1 million salary and they were able to afford 3 other people. That's not how it works, So I guess I was the idiot that stayed too long, and then once I left, then they were able to get more bodies in. But I think that's the trend in baseball, is to have a lot of minor league staff that are kind of brand new out of school.
Right.
Maybe have a senior individual that supervises them. So, but yeah, 10 years with the Mets, based in Florida at their spring training headquarters. Never a dull moment, and never the same day twice,
So a couple of times we had spoke as you were working on either my shoulder, my leg, or my back.
Right.
I remember you talking about the, so what were, you talked about the camps where the old guys would come in. Tell the audience a little bit about that, because I thought that was funny as hell. As we're sitting there, I'm creaking and groaning, and you're telling me about these guys that would come in for sports day or whatever.
So
it was.
fantasy camp, they call it fantasy camp, and so for 1 week, it depends on the organization as to when they offer it. The Mets would offer it in January. They've since changed it, and I think they offer multiple ones throughout the year in the off season, November, maybe December. But anyway, so Joe Schmo off the street drops about $5,000 and flies to Florida for the week and plays adult league baseball, and you get your own jersey with your name on it. You get a home and away jersey. You locker in the Mets clubhouse alongside the other Joe Schmoes, and ex-Mets players are your coaches. And so you could be lockering right next to Mookie Wilson from the '86 Mets, and so a lot of these guys are playing alongside or being coached by their childhood idols, right? So Wally Backman, Mookie Wilson, Dwight Gooden, just depends on which coach was available. Sometimes they would have other players from other organizations that would also coach, but some guys have played baseball year round in adult leagues, and others haven't thrown a ball since high school. And so the line for the training room, we had 4 athletic trainers that worked this camp, and everybody's hurt. You just try not to get hurt on day one,
Right.
because it ruins your week, you know. And so the line out the door for the training room is just ridiculous, you know. And this guy would hobble in, and you'd be like, all right, you again, what do you need? You know, there's a lot of playful banter back and forth. And these guys are all from New York, New Jersey, so you can just imagine
Oh yeah.
the tone and the rhythm of the speech and
Right.
the words used. But you know, the guy's like, well, my back, my shoulder, my ankle, and you're like, geez, like this fantasy camp, don't make it a nightmare, you know, like just you just kind of rib them a little bit. But it's a lot of fun. They probably play too much baseball. They're playing double headers, and when you haven't played since high school, and now you're asked to play twice a day for 3 or 4 days, it's kind of ridiculous, you know.
Oh yeah.
But like the first night, you go out to dinner with your team. You get to know your buddies on the team, and then another night there's a barbecue and bull session where it's Q&A with the players. You know, like, hey, you know, remember that fight you got in with Pete Rose? You know, back in the 70s. Like, tell us about that. You know, he rammed into you at second base, breaking up a double play, and then you guys fought right out there at second. You know, and everybody's seen the video. It's out there, you know. And so
Right.
to get an inside look and inside taste of what was going down, you know, with no BS, like, it's awesome, you know. And another night you have, I don't know, maybe a casino night, and maybe another night is kangaroo court. So somebody's the judge, and they're keeping track of what you do all week, and then they break out the kangaroo court violations and fine you, and the money goes to charity. Right?
Okay.
So, you know, this guy put his helmet on wrong, you know, he put it on backwards, that's a fine, you know, or this guy didn't know there were 3 outs, and he, you know, or whatever. Like, so, and then the last day it's pros versus the Joes. So, you know, the each team gets a 3-inning game, I think, against the pros. And yeah, it's a good time. You try not to have anybody die, which hadn't happened on my watch, but you know, there's some pretty gruesome injuries because, you know, these guys, their hand-eye coordination's not great. So, you know, you're tracking a fly ball and it ends up hitting them right in the eye,
Oh,
you know, because they
gosh.
miss it. Or
What was the span of the ages?
the minimum age is, I think, 35, and you
Okay.
can go as old as you want. So I think the oldest I had out there is probably 79, give or take. And I remember
Holy
that
cow.
because he fouled a ball off his leg and his skin was paper thin and he bled like a stuck pig.
Wow.
You know, and then there's all kinds of injuries, you know, legit stuff that comes from playing baseball and stuff that comes from the knuckleheaded stuff, you know, like, I don't know.
Hold my beer and watch this type garbage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember we had a New York City cop that pulled his hamstring, and it was just black and blue. This is like day 2 of camp. I was like, we really gotta. He's like, patch me up, doc. Get me through the week. And I'm like, well, we got to make sure you're able to chase down the bad guys when you get back, you know. And he's like, look at me. He goes, do you think I chase anybody down in New York? Give me a break, you know.
Play me, coach.
He was a bigger boy, and it's true. He probably just sat in his cruiser and he ain't chasing anybody down. But anyway, there's a lot of wealthier individuals there too, and there's a lot of like blue collar guys too. So it's real wide range of individuals, but really good time.
Sounds like a good mix.
Yeah, a lot of fun. But it kept us busy as athletic trainers because everybody's got something and everybody's got multiple things. And so how do you prioritize, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to keep them on the field. But, you know, you talk them up. You're like, hey, I'm going to give you the same treatment that I gave so-and-so, you know? And they're like, oh, really? Like, yeah, this worked for him. This is going to work for you. They eat it up, you know? It's just pretty cool.
That's funny.
So,
What, now I remember you telling me at one point you guys would do trips down to, I guess, for the minor leagues, or where they would go and recruit guys from out of, like, you know, DR or other places?
So we had a Dominican Republic Academy, and so it's kind of like a feeder system. These kids are age 15 to 18 at the Dominican Academy, and so, you know, baseball is definitely life down there. That's a big deal. So they're trying to play their way off the island.
Right.
Essentially, if you're good enough, then you can make it to the States. So I was responsible for the rehabs down there too, and so I'd go down there once or twice a year, check in on them. Always a good time because it's so hot down there. They start super early, and so they're on the field playing games, I think, by 10, which means they're done wrapped up by 1, which means I've got double pina coladas in hand by 2 at the all-inclusive resort in Boca Chica, Dominican Republic. So
all expenses paid?
All expenses paid.
Nice.
Yeah. So room on the beach. I mean, open up the sliding glass door, and there you are.
Wow.
Really nice. Don't drink the water. I didn't drink the water, but I ate the salad, which was apparently washed in the water.
Oh, yep.
And there's another quick 10 pounds gone. So
Turbo Dave.
Yeah, there was a time where I didn't think I was going to make it home. I didn't think I'd get on the plane with what I had going, and so you just crush the anti-diarrheal meds, and you'll deal with being stopped up when you get back to the States. That's the way I looked at it. I just want to get off the island.
Dude, I did that contracting, so I was rotating back and forth to Afghanistan, and I always hit the chow hall on the special operations side of the base, and they always had like an awesome freaking salad bar, and but yeah, like 2 days before I'm supposed to fly out, for my rotation home, the ninja hits me, and I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah.
I've got a seatbelt on the toilet where I'm at, and thank God I got on that bird, and flying out into Dubai, I was sweating bullets.
You need to sit me on a cork.
I made it.
Yeah.
But so I feel your pain.
Yeah.
So all right, so you end up doing the Mets gig. What was probably one of the high points of that?
Well, I think going to the World Series in 2015, that's tough to beat.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah, and it was good because not only the team, we're playing in the World Series, but the organization treated its minor league staff to tickets and airfare and hotel, all expenses paid, to go watch. And so I would, if they didn't do that, I never would have gone to a World Series. It's too expensive,
right? Especially
in New York. But to be in that atmosphere in October and early November, that was pretty cool. Obviously wish we would have won it, but the darn Royals got it. But it was a very special time. I got to take my wife, and so that was cool.
Yeah, heck yeah, man, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So you end up doing so what ends up getting you to decide, hey, I'm gonna leave the Mets and come down to Duke Field, or was there something in between?
No,
the Mets and Duke.
Nothing in between. I had been thinking about it for a year or two. The schedule with baseball is just brutal. It is 100% baseball all the time. Even in the off season, when maybe the coaching staff gets a break, that's when everybody that's hurt has surgeries, and so I'm busiest in the off season. And so these days in season are 60, 70 hours a week.
Holy cow.
I mean, it's every day. There was a time in spring training that started in early February, and I didn't get a day off until April. Now, not every day was 12-hour days, but even where everybody else had an off day, I'm still in for treatments because somebody's hurt.
Right.
You got it. So even your off day ends up being a half day. And so trying to raise 2 little ones, and my wife was a saint, but even the saintliest of saints is going to have a problem with you being gone all the time.
Oh yeah.
And she did a great job, but I don't know. I felt a little guilty being away all the time. And baseball for me at one point was a love, and then it started being just not a love anymore. I was dreading watching baseball, and I knew that there's just probably the shelf life for that job was probably starting to come to an end.
Right.
So I just started searching for a better opportunity. It's not that the Mets was a bad job. I knew it would take a better opportunity to leave it. We were down in South Florida. It was really hot. It was not as friendly as Alabama, or the Panhandle and Lower Alabama, we'll say.
Right.
So I stumbled across this job, and it was the opportunity to be in on the ground floor of something new. POTIF at Duke Field was brand new. To stand up a new program and kind of put my stamp on it was very enticing.
How was it pitched to you, or did you just find it on?
I found it.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for me, I mean, it was 20% more money and 40% fewer hours, and you don't have to be an MBA to make that decision kind of make sense.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was going to be the move, and we just kind of justified it like kids are not in middle school, high school yet. Like, now's the time. If we're going to do it, now's the time. So, thought about it, talked about it, and off we went. 8 hours northwest to the Panhandle. So now, again, I left my wife behind because they wanted me here in May. And again, we talked about it, and she said, I can do it. I can pack up the house. I've done it before. And luckily, the house sold within a day or two of being put on the market.
Oh, wow.
So that was huge.
Heck yeah.
We did the pods thing where you pack up the pods. So 2 pods.
Okay.
So I guess it wasn't awful, but I didn't do it. I'd have to confirm with her. I don't want to do it again like that because I've done it now twice, leaving it all to her, and I don't think it's fair. She'll probably tell you it's not fair, even though we talked about it. But still, I feel some guilt there. So we need to be here for a while. That's our thought. But the goal was always to bring that professional sports mentality, professional care that they receive, care and recovery, and bring it here to you guys. And so, leveraging industry contacts and relationships to help outfit the space and to help keep us moving in the right direction for what's new and exciting in terms of equipment. But the same techniques and tools and equipment that I had in my training room with the New York Mets, essentially you guys have that here. It's a smaller space, but and there's no Wi-Fi right now, but we're doing the best we can with what we got. But it's really the same structure. I mean, we have here strength coaches, you've got a dietitian, you've got mental health, mental skills, and we have that here, and that's what we had with the Mets. Each individual minor league team had a strength coach, an athletic trainer, a dietitian, or someone representing that. Might have been an intern, but and then mental skills. And so, taking that blueprint and being able to execute that here. Again, the bad thing is we're not co-located in the same building for now.
Right.
Maybe that changes in the future, but just trying to deliver that kind of best-in-class care to you guys. Get you in same day, next day, and trying to eliminate some of that Eglin red tape that takes sometimes 2 to 4 weeks to get somebody in therapy.
Oh yeah.
Having the embedded care model is pretty huge.
No, that way, and speaking from experience, there was nothing more frustrating than going in, being and being seen for whatever was aching or whatever ails you, and then them say, oh yeah, here, go to physical therapy, and then they'd send you to a clinic that was jam packed. It was nice when POTIF came on board.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy cow, we have all this available to us, and just realizing that we had guys like you, that had cool stories from the major leagues,
Definitely.
and yeah, getting that same what seemed to be that same level of care that a guy would get, So, what was were there any big transitions for you whenever it came down to, hey, I'm dealing with a professional athlete to dealing with a military guy?
It is a little different, mainly because you think about the professional athlete is going to be age 18 to I don't know, maybe 35, 37, somewhere there, and then they go on their second act. But it's all about performance, right? Right there, they're trying to get a contract, they're trying to stay on the team. So sometimes the decision making is for the immediate, whereas for you guys, I try to help you see the big picture. What happens after you retire? You know, you don't want to be, okay, so you got this knee injury, and yeah, you probably could go on to deployment with this knee injury, limping along or whatever, but 10 years from now, when your knee's all chewed up and you have bad arthritis because you didn't take care of this correctly now, what will that look like for you? You know, if you're willing to accept that, you know, then go. But, you know, last I checked, this is, I mean, maybe the deployment is your Super Bowl. It's different if it's Game 7 of the World Series or it's the Super Bowl. I say let's limp along and do the best you can. But there'll be other deployments, you know, and that's easy for me to say. So it's a conversation. It's a conversation, you know, but helping you guys see the big picture. So we're talking about helping prolong careers. You may not be perfect with your physical health, but, you know, so again, if you have a back issue or a knee issue, do you need to run? You know, now if you love running, I can't take it away from you. If you're only running because the Air Force says you got to run once a year for a fitness test, let's explore some cross-training methods. Let's talk about a rower. Let's talk about a bike. Let's talk about the pool. There are other options that are available to you to save the wear and tear on your knee, and maybe you just run when you need to, you know. Some people like that thought process. Others are a little bit more stubborn about it, you know. And so whatever, but a lot of it's managing the career for a little bit longer than the professional baseball career.
Right.
And there's probably less money involved, I'm guessing. I'm guessing you guys' contracts aren't $1 million contracts. So.
Yeah, no, that's funny because I remember you telling me, it's like, dude, yeah, you know, every deployment's a Super Bowl unless you're a freaking slacker who's, you know, I really don't want to go this time or whatever, you know. I mean, but I mean, especially with guys that are operating at that level. Hey, yeah, I want to get back out the door.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go play.
Sure.
And you know, and then you got some guys that'll just completely dismiss and not even show up to the freaking PTO. I'll square it away, rub some dirt on it, spit on it, and and we're good.
It's probably different for the ground guys versus air crew. You know, this or that. Like, does a pilot need to be deadlifting 500 pounds? I don't know. It's not me. But you know, if you get hurt in the weight room because your testosterone is going and you're barking at somebody else and challenging somebody else and you hurt your back and now you can't fly, well, what's the point? You know, it's like our guys being hurt in the weight room with the Mets. Like, good for you, you're a weight room all-star, but now you're off the field because you're hurt, and now you can't sign that next contract, or you can't make it to the big leagues if you're not getting hurt. Get hurt between the lines. Don't get hurt in the weight room.
Right, right.
So now you ask a strength coach, they may feel differently, but we try to blend our theories together and keep everybody safe. So
what have been some of the highs of working with the military, and what have been some of the lows, if any, other than having to get up and go do the grind every day?
Well, I think one of the highs is, I've often described it like this: you guys play for the name on the front of the jersey, whereas those Mets players play for the name on the back. You know, and that's quite refreshing to see that. The team, you know, the selfless attitude, you know, that you guys don't do it for the glory. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. And communication with you guys is really good. You know, you're professionals, you're adults. If you miss an appointment, I assume you're off literally saving the world, you know. Whereas a lot of those teenage Mets, you know, baby millionaires, just blow off an appointment and don't think much of it, you know. And it's hard because you don't have any recourse with them a lot of times because they're treated special, you know, they're coddled or whatever. But everybody here has been accountable, so that's very cool and very refreshing. I think probably one of the things I miss is being a part of the So like you're working a baseball game. It's the bottom of the ninth. You hit a walk-off homer. There's a level of excitement. You're part of that. Here, I'm not going to hear all the stories for a variety of reasons. I don't get a chance to celebrate necessarily with your wins. You could have executed your mission and taken out this bad guy or whatever. I'm not going to get to see it. I'm not going to get to high five you. I'm not going to cheer it on. Because I don't get to see that stuff. And I don't, like I said, I don't hear all the pieces of the stories.
Gotcha.
So, sometimes you fall back and say, like, am I making a difference? Am I helping? And I mean, I don't need to cheer on the sidelines to know that I'm making a difference, but it's nice to celebrate every once in a while.
No, that makes sense. I could see, and I never thought of that perspective as to, hey, you're sending these cats off, and the fact that you helped this guy, get his shoulder squared away or get his knees squared away or his back, and now he's able to head out, and work those missions with Partner Nation, or or whether it's a maintenance guy that's a combat aviation advisor who's out there on a freaking runway in the middle of the night, out in the middle of the freaking desert, and he's working with Partner Nation to get an airplane, up in the air.
Yeah.
Those are the stories, and some of what's mundane to us probably pretty inspirational to you, and it's getting that job done. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I knew, like, in the World Series, I knew that my fingerprints were all over that team because almost every one of them had come through our rehab program, with a potentially career-ending injury, and we helped put them back together and get them out. And now I can see them perform, in the ultimate game, in
right.
the ultimate arena. And so I just have to trust that, with feedback, we're helping and we're making a difference.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So what would So no, that's a pretty exciting career. What do you think your next steps are? I mean, you've been here for what, 5 years now? 4 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
Dang,
yeah,
time
5.
flies.
I know.
What you just gonna ride this train for as long as you can, or you have any aspirations of striking out on your own?
I don't know. Well, I do have a small. So this is one of the things that happened when I transitioned from those 60, 70-hour weeks, and I went to 40-hour weeks. I felt like I went from 70 miles an hour to a school zone. Like, I had so much free time, like things came to a grinding stop, and I didn't know what to do with myself, And so I do have a small side gig, LLC.
Okay.
Major League Sports Health.
Sweet. Yeah, get that up there so they can. Major League Sports Health, you said?
Yep.
Okay.
So I see private patients on the side. I do a little bit of consulting, this, that. It's nothing big, but it gave me a chance to kind of get back into that, which is exciting. Dabbled with teaching, going into teaching. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Once the kids got to get out of the house first,
No, that makes sense. So what are you on? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Are you doing anything multimedia wise or social media wise?
I'm on Facebook with the LLC.
Okay.
And I'm on X.
Yeah.
I think they call it.
X.
But I'm not really. I don't promote it real aggressively.
Okay.
It's really more of a liability shield. I started it with the Mets so that if somebody came and saw me, they'd recognize that this is not Dave, the employee of the Mets, doing it. This is Dave with his side business doing it. So if you chose to try and sue me, you're not suing the Mets.
Gotcha.
You're suing me, and you're going to get maybe a laptop and some latex gloves out of it. That's about it. So.
No, that's awesome. And so before we finally close this thing down, which we're coming towards the end, make sure you website.
MajorLeagueSportsHealth.com.
MajorLeagueSportsHealth.com.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think that's what it is.
You're as bad as I am.
Tells you how often I visit it.
No, it's yeah. So for all you guys out there, keep that in mind. But no, that's awesome. What so for a young guy or gal that's interested in going into your line of work, what do you recommend?
Whew. That's a good question. I don't know. You got to get your schooling first, and then I think it's important to realize that there is a component of who you know, not necessarily what you know. Everybody knows the same stuff, but it's your ability to have rapport and relate to somebody, and not be an asshole. Frankly, like you want to work alongside somebody. People want to work alongside people they like. You may not always agree with them, but you can't be a jerk about stuff. You need to be a likable person, and try not to flaunt your intelligence. Everybody's smart around here. Everybody knows stuff, but networking is big. It's a big piece of it. I'm not necessarily an extrovert, but I guess I can turn it on when I need to.
You know what I mean? Yeah, every time I sat down with you, how much of an introvert are you?
I'm not the extreme, but I don't know.
Like your space?
Do what?
I said you like your space?
Yeah, sure. From time to time.
No, it's I tell you what. I mean, I wouldn't have expected you to be an introvert, to be honest with you, because every time I rolled in, it was always a good experience. I always enjoyed chatting with you.
I faked it.
And,
just kidding. I can turn it on when I need to, but I'm not. I don't know. I'm not the extreme extrovert. I'm not the extreme introvert. I guess I'm in the middle.
Not a bad place to be.
I like it both ways. Yeah.
What other suggestions you got?
Geez. I think it's important to realize that whatever you're learning in school, you're scratching the surface. You have to work outside of class to get better. You have to seek out additional opportunities to learn more, to experience more. It's not just going to be gift wrap for you at the college and university setting. You're going to have to do a little work on your own.
Gotcha.
If you want to be successful, I feel.
Any recommendations for guys that are like me? We're not talking about me. Asking for a friend. Any recommendations you got, guys? Whoa, buddy. Woo!
Pop smoke.
Yeah. Needs to slow down on those blind curves.
Yep.
What do you recommend for guys my age? Guys, obviously that a little bit worn and torn, and what do you suggest for good physical health for for guys that are retiring out of the military?
Yep.
Their transition is not only job-wise, it's not only academic. There's a major physical aspect to it.
Sure.
So guys that have been forced to do PT or that have been pretty good about it, they go into civilian life. What are your recommendations for them for longevity, or basically summarized?
Yeah, I think they got to keep moving. First of all, I don't think you can. I'm not saying you don't let yourself go per se, but you can't just throw in the towel and do nothing. You got to maintain some semblance of a routine. I would guess. Again, I've never been in the military and retired, but I think routine's probably something you guys have down pretty good. But you may not have in civilian life the dedicated time to get your physical stuff in like you did when you were in the Air Force. So you got to carve out time for that activity, routine. Recognize that it may not always be the physical activities may not always happen in the fit pad or in the gym. Like, may not have those facilities. So stuff like body weight work keeps you moving. TRX, the TRX is huge. This is TRX suspension trainer and a TRX rip trainer that are very portable and can be hooked up to a tree limb, to a set of monkey bars.
You're talking about mainly the straps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Suspension strap training.
Gotcha.
Bands travel well.
Yeah.
But maintaining flexibility, foam rolling, flexibility. Think about how much time you're going to sit at a new job, perhaps, whereas when you're in the Air Force, you get up, move around maybe a little bit more, I'm guessing. Civilian life's different, but yeah, and I think if you struggle with that transition, talk to another individual that's gone through it and help the guy behind you,
Oh yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, that you're your brother's keeper, and that's holding guys accountable. Whether it's, hey, I get it. You're walking. You're going into the unknown. Hey, check in on each other, and like you said with the PT and all that, I still try to keep up a regimen.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are times that it's hard to maintain the schedule.
Yeah.
And yeah, a job isn't always going to afford you to. Hey, yeah, I wrap up PT and I show up in my office at 9 o'clock. No, I'm having to show up in my office about 7 or 7:30.
Ready to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and so.
100%.
So, and so a lot of times you end up sacrificing sleep for getting up early.
Yeah.
But then some of the new science on sleep says, hey, if you're not getting enough sleep,
That's right.
the percentage of degradation of the effectiveness of your workout is significant. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
One guy quoted as much as 50%. I don't
Wow,
know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know how you equate that, but if that's true, it's like, dang, dude.
I think one of the quotes, I can't remember who I need to give credit to, but somebody said something along the lines of, if you're popping Red Bulls, drinking Red Bulls all the time, if you're eating Twinkies, and you're sleeping 4 hours a night, does your workout even matter? Does it matter whether you're doing TRX or FitPad or CrossFit or whatever? Does it even matter? Because you're not getting the benefit from it. So the workout's a big piece of it, but the sleep, the hydration, the food, the mental health, all of that is the other piece as well, and you can't just be one-dimensional with the workout.
Yeah,
and neglect the rest.
It's not nebulous anymore. Oh yeah, this isn't good for you to be doing that stuff.
Right.
No, it's actually tangibly measured now.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, anyway, any final thoughts?
I don't think I have any final thoughts. I mean, thanks for having me. It's long overdue. It's my fault for not putting that connecting with you sooner.
Nah, dude, that was all on me, man.
I hope we got a chance to chop it up real well for your viewers, and yeah.
No, I enjoyed it, and yeah, I had a little sabbatical from doing the podcast, like 6 months, and I finally got inspired to really try to nail it down and just get deliberate about it. So for your edification, man, it was always good working with you. I mean, you always took care of me, and
Appreciate it.
and you definitely gave me my money's worth, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
So, but once again, plug one last time your website.
MajorLeagueSportsHealth.com, and then plug for Duke Field POTIF. If you're stationed at Duke, reach out and get plugged in. See how the 5 pillars can help. You got a physical pillar, psychological health pillar, spiritual pillar, social pillar, and there's a neurocognitive pillar. So if you don't know what any of that means, you're the prime candidate to reach out and talk.
All right, guys. Hey, once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Give me your feedback, good or bad. Doesn't matter. Just give me some feedback. If you will, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And leave your comments, man. I want to make this bigger and better, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. So once again, until the next time, we'll see you later, man. God bless. Take care. And we'll catch up with you on the next episode.